So when I was researching how to cut nocks on my bamboo shafts, I didn't find a lot of information about how to do this on my own. I had a friend who has a little jig, and I went to her house and used her jig, but I really didn't feel like they were as good as the ones that I make at home. There was nothing special about it. So the tools that I use to cut my bamboo shafts, and this is what they look like right here. Right there. So I use just your everyday hacksaw, one blade. A lot of people use 2 or 3 blades. At my friends, we use 3 blades. I felt like it was really taking away too much too quickly. So I use 1 blade of that. And then at Tractor Supply, I saw a set of these that were like $5, but I picked these up at Home Depot, and it's a set of files. And I also use this little tiny file. It's like a toenail file, which is pretty thin to get started with. And then I use emery boards. So my first step is I just mark the center of where I want to make my cut with a Sharpie right down the middle. You can see that I just cut a line right, or I just marked a line right down the middle. I happen to have these little felty pads. They're actually for corns. I picked them up at the pharmacy, but I'm sure anything soft and squishy would do, but this is what I wrap in. The next thing I do is I tape my end, because one thing that can happen while you're cutting these nocks in bamboo is just it's nature to do that, is that it'll split. And so if you tape it close to where you're going to be cutting or placing your nock, that will help prevent that from happening. So I'm just using masking tape, and I wrap that around many times, you know, just probably about a 2-inch piece that I wrapped. And then I take my little pad here and I wrap that around so that when I'm in the vise, I don't split anything. So let's see, do I want to go, maybe I want to go this way because I want you to see what I'm doing. So then I snug up my vise so it's good and snug. And hopefully I won't knock the camera. And then place my blade right on my mark there and just do 1 stroke. That kind of gets things going for me. That's looking good. So far, so good. I feel it moving a little bit, so I'm just going to tighten that up just a little bit more. I don't like to make my nocks too deep because it just makes it weaker. A little bit more. So I go about 3/4 down the blade width. And that's about half, a little over half. So I'm going to go just a little bit more. There we go. 3/4 down. And that looks really good. So that's it with the hacksaw. I'm done with the hacksaw. Then I take this little nail file that I got at the pharmacy. It's pretty thin, and this will be my first filing down that I do. It fits right in there, no stress at all. And I'm just kind of pushing side to side to increase the width of my nock. And then as soon as that's kind of widened out a little bit, here, let me flip this around a little bit so you see a little better. There we go. Then I take my little triangle file, would be my next step. I believe that's right here. It has a triangle, 3 edges to it. Place that right down in top. And this just widens the opening where my bowstring will go in. There we go. I don't know if you can see that, but it's created a nice little U shape in the top of my bow, my nock. So the next step is I take a little bit of a wider, it's the flat file right there. And it's a little bit wider than the other file that I was using, so and if that feels like it's not going in quite right, I might try the emery board. That's looking really good. Basically, I just work the files. This one is a little half round. And that's to widen out the base a little bit. I'm going to turn this again so you guys can see the look there. And then my emery boards. So the hardest file that I end up working with is my little round file. And this is where I like to be able to put it in the base of the nock, where the bowstring is going to sit and not put a lot of stress on my nock once it gets through there. So sometimes it takes me a little time to work this through. I don't just like cram it in there because it can crack. I'm kind of squeezing my nock a little bit to reduce the pressure. I'm going to go in from the back side as well. I feel things slipping a little bit. And there we have it. Takes a little while to get that through there, but once it's through, that's great. Then I round my edges a little bit. And let's test it and see how the bowstring fits in there. I have one right over here. It's a little loose there. A little tight still, so I'm going to widen that out a little bit more with my files. Let's test it again. It looks pretty good. It's getting close. A little. There we go. And it's a good fit. All right. And there you have it. Turn it that way. Nice little nock. cut in my bamboo arrow. So now what I'll do is I will remove my tape and I will wrap it. And I wrap it with sinew or thread. I have some waxed nylon thread that I got for leather work, and that's what I like to use the most. But there you go. There's that beautiful little nock. Thanks for watching.